Hi everybody, just going through the differences between the original Bigwig and the re-release Bigwig. I'll try and go through all the things that I know. There might be some things that I don't know, and I'm really grateful for your feedback and anything else that I've missed. Thanks. The Bigwig is a pretty iconic car. You kind of love them or you hate them. I absolutely love them. You know, they are based on the Hotshot family. I think they're awesome. Here are the boxes of the original and re-release Bigwigs. Sorry about the glare. Here's one of the sides. Here's the other side. Here's the end of the boxes. Both ends are the same. So I'll just show you one end. Here's the Tamiya radio controlled guidebook, which featured the original Bigwig. Love going through these guidebooks and looking and reading about them. So cool. The transmitters from back when the original came out, and now what we sort of use now. I love all the old vintage radio gears, very cool. Here's the batteries. One thing about the original Bigwig, you could actually run an 8.4 volt battery in them, and yeah, they used to really hook with that battery. Very cool. These days we use still virtually a very similar battery. This one's a 5000 milliamp, which is quite large compared to what they used to be, like 1200. Very cool. Here's just a quick view inside the boxes of the original and re-release. I think it's pretty cool. The body was actually on this card in the original. Very cool. Got the two manuals here. I'm not going to go through page by page, otherwise this will be like an hour video. One thing with the manuals, the re-release starts off with building the differentials, whereas the original didn't start till step 13. In the original, they sort of start off with doing all the servos and the speed controller, steering servo. And one of the differences with the original has the mechanical speed controller, whereas the original starts off with doing everything with the servos, the steering, and the speed controller. One of the differences, the original has a mechanical speed controller, which the re-release uses an electronic speed controller. One iconic thing with the original, they use a C-ring type circlip to hold in the drive shafts, the axle joint into the gearbox housing, whereas in the re-release they just use a E-ring type circlip to hold the axle joint into the differential housing. Both these cars do look very similar. The original is painted in just the normal blue, whereas the re-release here is actually in metallic blue. One of the things is the stickering. On the re-release, you've got like a Mooncraft sticker on the wing, whereas the original has Decrepit. And another one would be on the re-release Joker Custom and the forward sticker products, whereas on the re-release you have Jackman wheels with the Pennzoil. Same on the front, the forward sticker there and the Pennzoil. Another thing that really stands out on the original, you've got the heat resistor there for the mechanical speed controller, whereas on the re-release, yeah, you don't have anything there. Another iconic thing on these cars is the screws in the front uprights on the front. They have like a flat type head screw, whereas on the re-release they have like an Allen key type screw in there. Here's that screw again. This is in the original manual, so you need to actually use one of the wheel axles to cut the thread into the upright and then screw the screw in, and then use a file to smooth it all off. Another sticker as well I did forget, on the original you have the Weber sticker, whereas on the re-release it's just a Tamiya sticker. Here's underneath the bodies. They both have been backed. The original has been backed with just flat black. You can see the colours and the screws are different as well. The re-release has been backed in sort of like a gloss black, and a bit of a difference in the screws as well. Here's both vehicles with the body off. Both look pretty similar. One thing that really stands out with the original is obviously the speed controller with the heat resistor there, and the mechanical speed controller under there, whereas the re-release got the electronic speed controller there. Also the receiver, so this one's just running a FlySky receiver, whereas the other one, it's an ACOMS receiver. ACOMS receiver is nearly probably double the size. I've pulled the battery cover off now, which you get a bit better view of the mechanical speed controller with the servo, whereas the re-release, just got the electronic speed controller there. On the re-release, they run a GT Tune 25 turn motor. It does have a proper Bigwig sticker on there. It's probably a bit hard to see with it bolted in the car. In the original, they run a RX 540 VZ Technical motor. Very iconic motor. With the way these motors are bolted in on the re-release, they have 2 screws, whereas on the original they have 1 screw at the top, and then they actually have like a screw shaft which screws into the motor first, and then just a flange nut on the end. Here's that threaded shaft in the original book. Screws into the motor first and then bolted through the motor with that flange nut on the end. And then here's the other one in the re-release manual, where you just got the 2 screws holding it together. Another thing that kind of stands out a bit is the screws. On the original they use like a goldy type screw, whereas on the re-release, they use like just a normal sort of black type screw. Another iconic thing with the original is the battery plug for the 8.4 volt battery. It has a different plug on the end, so you have to run that adapter there so you can use the 8.4 volt battery, whereas on the re-release you just got the normal plug on the battery. Another iconic thing to the Bigwig is how they got like this, model sort of kind of V8 with the exhaust pipes there. I think it's pretty cool. On the original, the drive shafts, yeah, they seem to be a bit thinner, whereas on the re-release they are a bit thicker. Weight wise, I think they're both about the same, just made out of different materials. Here's another view from the front of the drive shafts. Yeah, kind of a bit, definitely a bit different. As far as I know, I think the shocks are the same. Don't think there's really any difference with the shocks at all. Underneath these vehicles, they are pretty close to being the same. Got that awesome Technical motor in the original and that GT tune in the re-release. One thing that probably really stands out is the no recycle bin on the picture on the bumper. Also, you've got the slot cut out here. Not quite sure what that's for. Maybe someone can yeah, let me know. And on the original, yeah, there's no slot there. You can also see those screws with a flathead type screw head. Also, yeah, got the Allen key type screws in there as well. One other thing that I yeah, forgot to point out before, just with the re-release, yeah, you got to put in these foam pads at each end, because obviously, like, to stop the yeah, 7.2 volt battery sliding backwards and forwards, because obviously you need that extra room for the 8.4 volt battery. Yeah, so pretty cool. So probably another thing that's probably different as well, in the original, the bumper stay is like a sort of like a goldy type color, whereas on the re-release it's, yeah, like silver. One other thing I have noticed, these blue parts, kind of like a lighter blue in the original. Not sure, maybe if they have faded or that's how they were back in the day, whereas on the re-release, yeah, they're more of a darker blue, but I'm not sure whether it was back in the 80s where that blue was the same as that blue, but yeah, maybe not. Maybe someone can answer that for me. Another thing I have noticed, just with the battery covers, the original, just basically just the printing on them really, so, and then you got the re-release as well. So yeah, so just a little bit of differences, I suppose, if you're wondering, you know, if your original has the proper original parts. Also on the original, that post there is like a black, and on the re-release, yeah, it is silver. Okay everyone, that's my Bigwigs, the original and the re-release. Yeah, definitely happy for your comments and your feedback. Just in case I have missed any anything, yeah, I really love to know more about these very iconic Tamiya cars. Yeah, totally, yeah, awesome vehicle. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. I do have a fair few other videos of builds and unboxings of, yeah, many things. Thank you.